Hello everyone, my name is Niharika and I'm the owner of Verve Stake Pool from India. Today, I'm going to talk about decentralization of Cardano as against Bitcoin and try and show you why Cardano's decentralization is so special. By the end of this video, even your grandma should be able to explain why Cardano is epic in more ways than just one. Since today's video is all about decentralization, I will cover other important points of the Cardano system as against Bitcoin, maybe some other time. Alright then, let's begin.
What my grandma knows about cryptocurrencies is that it is a system using which you can transfer value from one person to the other without the banks. For example, if Jimmy sends some value in cryptocurrency to Tom, then Tom becomes rich. If Bob sends some more value in cryptocurrency to Tom, the system shows that Tom is richer. So the obvious question that my grandma has is, well, how does this work? Who truthfully updates the records of the system if it is not the banks? Who validates and updates the records that Tom has become richer and Bob and Jimmy have become poorer? So with that, we come to the next part, which is who maintains the system. Well, the answer to this is anyone can update the records of the system and everyone is willing to do so. Why? Well, because they get rewarded. While everyone wants to update the records in a given time frame, only one person or entity wins the chance to do so. And whosoever wins this chance gets rewarded in return. This is called as decentralization, where no one entity is controlling the system and anyone who wins a chance to do so will truthfully update the system and maintain the status quo. It's sometimes Jeff, next time Tina, another time John, and then Peter. It just goes on and on. So with that said, now let me explain who wins a chance and how. This section is important as it describes some horrifying things about the Bitcoin and reveals some superb things about Cardano. Let's talk about the Bitcoin system first. So in case of the Bitcoin, to win a chance to update the system and eventually earn rewards, your computer has to solve a complex puzzle which is difficult to solve but easy to verify. Note that the answer to this puzzle is a really big number. Now, after a certain time frame, let's say about 10 minutes, whosoever is able to produce a number that matches the answer to the puzzle wins a chance to update the system and eventually get rewards that automatically get deposited in his account from the system's treasury. And then another puzzle is introduced in the system. So, to win a chance to update the system, people deploy specific software on their computers not to solve the puzzle but to guess the answers. Yes, not to solve the puzzle, but to guess the answers. These people deploy computers to generate a lot of random numbers for guessing the answers to the puzzle, and after a specific time frame of 10 minutes, someone wins a chance to update the system, and others who do not win can easily verify that the winning answer matches with the real answer. This enables the others to verify that the winner has rightfully done the work and truthfully won the race. What next? Now everyone can adopt these updates and move on to grab the next chance. While this type of decentralization appears pretty straightforward, it has some issues that we will see in the next part of the video. When Bitcoin was new and cheap in the year 2009-2010, people simply deployed an old computer in their bedroom and got rewarded with Bitcoins. But when the price of Bitcoin increased, it caught the eyeballs of many people. As more people got involved, they deployed more number of computers so that they could win a chance to update the Bitcoin system. Eventually, as the price further increased, some group of people designed and manufactured special computers only for the purpose of participating in the Bitcoin system and winning rewards. Ultimately, this possibility was dependent on two factors. First, access to the special computers that could guess answers efficiently, and second, access to cheap electricity to run a huge number of computers. So, these two factors severely affected those who actually wanted to continue participating in the system but had to quit because of the following reasons. First, they did not have access to special computers because either they were very expensive and they could not afford them, or another reason was that these manufacturers of the special computers never sold them. Why? Well, because they wanted to use it for themselves and earn rewards. Second reason was that these participants did not have access to cheap electricity for running so many computers. So ultimately, the number of people who could participate in the Bitcoin system reduced from many to few because a lot of them had to quit. The few who had cheap access to electricity and the few who had access to these specific computers meant that only the rich could participate in the Bitcoin system now. Here's a fun fact for you. The entry point to be able to successfully participate in the Bitcoin system is approximately 100 million US dollars. Well, this is not the only thing that saddens me about the Bitcoin system. The way it works also wastes a lot of electricity and resources. So basically, all those who want to win a chance to update the system run computers to generate random guesses to answer the puzzle. Now we know that there is only one person who will win a chance in that given time frame. All the losers of that particular time frame get nothing out of the electricity they spend on running their computers. It's like the winner takes it all. But all these other guys, they don't stop. Given the price of Bitcoin today, they keep on spending on electricity to try and win the next time frame. So eventually, the amount of energy it takes to run the Bitcoin network is equal to the electricity consumed by Switzerland. Another not so fun fact for you. Well, in case of Cardano, or for that matter, any decentralized system, a few things remain the same. That is, first, everyone wants to participate in maintaining the system, and second, only a few win the chance in a given time frame and get rewarded from the treasury. But in case of Cardano, there is a world of difference when it comes to who can win a chance to participate and what it takes for someone to participate and maintain the system. So in case of Cardano, we have these operators who set up a couple of computers and announce their willingness to maintain the Cardano system to all these holders of the token, that is holders of Cardano or ADA. But just setting up a computer does not mean that these operators will win a chance to maintain the system and get rewarded. To participate in the system, you have to be trusted by the holders of ADA, which means that if anyone, for example you, are holding let's say 100 tokens of Cardano, then you have the right to have 100 votes of trust that you can use to elect any of these operators for maintaining the system for a given time frame. Just like you, all other ADA holders can use the power of their ADA wealth to elect the operator they trust for maintaining the Cardano system. This vote of trust is valid for 5 days and does not change unless the ADA holder explicitly changes his vote for another operator after 5 days. This time frame of 5 days is further divided into small time slots of around 20 seconds, and in these time slots, one of the operator will be the leader who will update and advance the system. The number of votes assigned to an operator decides the number of time slots for which he would be the leader. For example, this operator may have 2 time slots for which he or she would be the leader and would be allowed to update and advance the system. And as this operator has more votes of trust, he would have 4 time slots to be the leader and will be allowed to update and advance the system. So, when an operator becomes a leader and advances the system, he gets rewarded from the treasury of the system along with the ADA holders who place their trust in him with their votes. The amount of rewards that ADA holders get is proportional to the ADA they use to vote for the operator. So this is a win-win situation for both the holders of ADA as well as the operators, as both get rewarded. Now you're probably thinking, what if all ADA holders vote for only one operator because he's famous? Here's the thing about Cardano, right? The rules of this system are such that if an operator gets more than a specific number of votes, that is the upper limit, the rewards get reduced. Logically, no one would want to reduce the rewards, right? So when this situation happens, the holders of ADA distribute their voting power to elect other operators and increase their chances of operating the system. This is how the number of operators controlling the systems is always sufficiently large enough. The most important aspect of this system is that this upper limit of the highest number of votes that an operator can have is supposed to reduce every year as time progresses and as the price of the token goes up. When this upper limit of vote decreases, it allows for scope for additional operators to come into the system and try and win hearts and votes of the ADA holders by marketing themselves appropriately. So as time progresses, the number of operators increase from many to many more, unlike Bitcoin, where we saw how the number of people who could participate in the system reduced from many to few. This means that unlike Bitcoin, the decentralization of Cardano increases over time. And now we come to the most interesting part of Cardano's decentralization, which is way beyond mathematics and rules of the Cardano system. In the Cardano system, there is a huge scope for several types of diversifications and decentralization. And this is the fun part. Currently, there is no minimum amount of money that you have to put to participate in the system. This means that even if I'm poor but popular enough to gain trust of the ADA holders, I can participate as an operator. If I am an operator from India, the ADA holders of India can support me by using their ADA wealth to vote and elect for me to increase my chances of participating in the system. Similarly, people from France can support the operators from France and so on. So there is a scope for geographical diversity in Cardano's decentralization. Now, there are some operators who are participating in the system for some specific social causes. They use their rewards for doing charity work. And if you, as a holder of ADA, want to support such causes, you need not donate your ADA to these operators. You just have to use your ADA wealth to vote for these operators and increase their opportunities to maintain the system. Why do I say this? Because the system is such that you will get approximately the same rewards if you vote for other operators. Then why not support the cause? So, in Cardano, there is a scope to support a cause without giving out any donations. Next, and the most important one, is cultural diversification. If I am an operator of the Cardano system and also a musician, I can attract ADA holders who are musicians to support me by voting for me to increase my chances of maintaining the system. Similarly, if I'm a superstar, I can attract my fans to vote for me. If I'm a woman, I can appeal to all the women out there to allow me to participate and maintain the Cardano system. So this means that there is a huge scope for cultural diversification. And this list of types of diversification goes on. And that's what we are. A strong and diverse community united by Cardano. So what do you think, guys? Do you like a so-called decentralization of Bitcoin or any other coin like Bitcoin that is run only by the rich and the few, which, by the way, also burns about 0.6% of the world's electricity? Or you like Cardano's decentralization, where poor but popular can participate, where there is geographical diversity in decentralization, where you can support a cause without any donation, and where there is cultural diversification in the decentralization? Well, my grandma and I love Cardano more than anything else. What about you?